Today's internet landscape bombards us with motivational quotes and videos meant to inspire and encourage us to take action. However, motivation only gets us started. To achieve something, we need to put in the work. Working towards a goal requires effort and repetition, and with few exceptions, there are often no shortcuts to reaching significant milestones, such as mastering driving or completing an academic education. We can be highly motivated, but we won't get anywhere if we don't take action. Many people struggle to commit to repetitive actions over the period required to achieve their goals. There is an intention, a desire, but no significant progress. These people likely lack the missing key to unlocking the door that leads to achievement, self-discipline. Discipline is a controlled effort that requires self-control and adherence to specific rules, such as following a schedule. Discipline generally gets a bad rap, as it sounds unromantic and exhausting. But self-discipline is what gets results, and it often leads to inner peace, as structure and predictability reduce the stress brought on by uncertainty. The Stoics considered discipline a virtue, along with other qualities like perseverance, resilience, nobility, and self-control. The Stoics favored hard work and the wise use of their days. For example, Seneca urges us not to waste our time and to act now since life is short. Marcus Aurelius points to nature, concluding that we naturally tend to be hard workers. What is self-discipline? The Cambridge Dictionary defines self-discipline as the ability to do the things you know you should do, even when you don't want to. Making yourself do certain things requires self-control to resist engaging in activities that don't contribute to your goals. It also requires the drive to get to work and a goal to work toward. So, if we do what we should and refrain from what we shouldn't, we are disciplined. This sounds easy, but for many it isn't. These three dimensions, self-control, work and goal, were praised by the ancient Stoics and are therefore integrated into Stoic philosophy. Although the Stoics sought inner peace, they were not lazy. They knew that living in agreement with nature meant, for human beings, on using our bodies and minds properly by being productive, active, and contributing to the whole. We must not waste our inherent attributes, but use them properly. Epictetus argued that facing adversity made Hercules strong. What would have become of him if he hadn't used his powerful physique and noble soul? The world offered challenges that called for a strong man like Hercules to take on. He was made for these challenges, not to slumber his life away. By following his natural inclinations, he not only became a hero, but also contributed to society by eliminating many dangers for his family. It was a win-win situation. How do we build self-discipline according to Stoic philosophy? Let's explore some relevant Stoic ideas. The power of self-control. Epictetus stated that we should treat life like a banquet. If a plate stops in front of us, we should take a little in moderation. If it hasn't come to us yet, we should not grab it. If it passes us by, we should not stop it. But even better would be if we could reject what is presented to us. Such a force makes us godlike. Self-control is a vital part of self-discipline. Through self-control, we can restrain ourselves from doing things that we shouldn't be doing. Working toward a specific goal, for example, writing a thesis, is theoretically something simple. We just need to put in the necessary hours of research and writing to finish it. However, in reality, people struggle with a task like this. Largely, this struggle exists because of how they handle distractions. Unfortunately, we have no control over the distractions that life throws at us. As Epictetus mentions, the things that are not in our control are those that are not of our own doing. But we do have control over how we position ourselves in relation to things that we cannot control. In terms of distractions, we cannot control people inviting us out for a drink, the latest season of our favorite television series being released, or people trying to discourage us by criticizing or opposing us. No matter how hard we try to resist, the world will always have many things to offer that may capture our attention and persuade us to change our minds. This has probably only increased due to advances in technology. Of course, we can influence the amount of distractions we are exposed to by limiting our contact with the outside world and organizing our living environment accordingly. But ultimately, the outside world, including our immediate surroundings, is under the control of fortune. So, what can we do? We can strengthen our self-control. We can fortify ourselves against inevitable distractions by strengthening our resolve to finish what we wish to complete. If we have the strength to reject what comes our way, temptations will not swerve us from our cause. Self-control takes practice. We must master it through exposure and repetition to strengthen our ability to restrain ourselves. The more we conquer distractions and temptations, the less powerful they become. If these temptations have no or limited power over us, we experience what the Stoics call freedom. Within the context of discipline, it is the freedom to do what we intend to do. Freedom in the sense that external circumstances do not control our actions. 2. Diligence. How can we accomplish things if we are not able or willing to work for them? From the Stoic perspective, work is not only important, it's also what we're designed to do. Everything in the universe has its place. And as human beings, we are given unique abilities to serve the whole. Therefore, Stoics consider diligence a virtuous characteristic. They believe it is part of our nature to work. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminds himself of his duties as an emperor and as a human being. He is here to work and serve, not to stay in bed all day doing nothing. Yes, it may be much more pleasant to stay in bed, but the Stoic emperor reminds himself that he was not born to feel pleasant. He mentions how plants, sparrows, ants, spiders, and bees all perform their duties. These living beings work to bring order to the world and participate in the ways that nature has assigned them. Why don't you run out and do what your nature demands? Marcus Aurelius asks. Of course, we cannot work day and night. We also need to sleep and relax. But as Marcus Aurelius said, nature put a limit on that, just as it did on eating and drinking. So there is a time to relax and a time to work. Courage is a cardinal virtue in Stoicism. The Stoics subdivide courage into endurance, confidence, nobility, joy, and diligence. Diligence is a vital part of self-discipline. It is the habit of being active and busy. If we are working towards a goal, self-control alone is not enough. We need to be diligent and do what needs to be done consistently. 3. The star in the sky. As Seneca said, life is short, and we are wasting most of it. How many people wander through life aimlessly with no overall goal to direct their energy toward? To really move forward, we need a finish line to run toward. We need that star in the sky, whatever it may be, to ascend toward. The easiest way to lead an undisciplined life is to have no specific goal. If we don't have goals or sub-goals, we quickly direct our energy toward things that don't serve us in the long run, or we simply don't act at all. As Marcus Aurelius said, then there's also another kind of wandering that should be avoided. Some people are busy and yet do nothing. They get tired and worn out and yet aim for no goal. They propose no overarching goal of action or design. In the modern world, we can exhaust ourselves with partying, drinking, excessive video games, or binge-watching TV shows. It's not that we are doing nothing. We simply spend our time and energy mostly on short-term pleasures and work just to stay in the rat race of petty pleasures and consumerism. For many people, life seems meaningless, and achieving something bigger, like realizing their dreams and ambitions, seems impossible. But most likely they are lacking a goal. This could be due to the fear of failure, but also because there are so many options today that it is difficult to choose a direction. The paradox of choice confuses many, and leads people to want countless things, but end up with nothing of substance. Therefore, choosing one particular goal and letting everything else slide benefits those left adrift in the wastelands of modernity. Marcus Aurelius stated, "Stop wandering, run toward the goal. Abandon your hopes, and if your well-being matters to you, be your own savior while you still can." Conclusion: harnessing Stoic self-discipline. Being disciplined with yourself becomes much easier if we have a strong, clear goal. We give ourselves purpose by embracing a solid reason to get out of bed each morning. The harder we work towards that goal, the more steadfast we become overall. As we keep our eye on the finish line, seeing it getting closer each day, we build self-confidence by realizing that we can achieve things. Seeing the progress motivates us to keep going. It keeps us from blindly wandering from one assumption to the next. We will accomplish things even if we don't want to, because that star in the sky shines brightly above us. It rises high above everything that doesn't matter, leaving it in the shadows where it belongs.